I hope you're ready for a sexy, sexy Christmas.
With your family.
And with us. Yeah, put us on at your
your
Christmas
family.
gift. Yeah, we are your
You're
family.
lonely and you have nothing going on in your life.
Have you seen that picture? It's like a little kid sitting in front of like a Fisher Price set, like, and it's a picture of other kids, and they're just like hanging out with the other kids. It's like, this is what podcasts feel like.
No, I haven't seen that yet. I'm sure I will soon enough. Welcome to a very merry
I'd call it a
RadioLOUD.
Christmas special, but nothing special about it. I mean, we have some Christmas stuff to talk about.
But we're not even going to get there right away.
Yep.
So I hit a deer.
Fucking what?
So I had a hockey game last week. We won.
God damn.
We won. That was ecstatic. We won.
How's the fucking car, though? Did the car win?
Yeah. So
You should see the other guy.
So I was driving home and I actually didn't even. I had a beer after the game, and then it was like, well, I got to get out of here because it was a Sunday at 9:15 was the game. So I got out at like 11 on a Sunday, and I had to work Monday. So I had one beer, left the hockey place, or left the rink, and I was driving home. Brittany had an exam the next day. She asked me to pick up some McDonald's coffee. I was like, do you really want that?
You
Yes.
really want diarrhea?
She said yes. So I stopped and got it. I got off on the exit, picked up the coffee, got back on, just got up to speed, and my headlights.
Highway or freeway?
It was highway. I was pushing
Okay.
70, but it's like back. It's like back
Yeah.
roads highway. There's no medians or anything, and my headlights just see four hooves, and I'm going 75 miles an hour, and 2 seconds later it's like, oh, that's a fucking deer. And I'm on top of this thing, and it's facing east.
So you just
I'm in the
double
right
down?
I'm in the right lane, and I'm like, all right, I'll get over. Or actually, I was in the left lane. I was like, okay, this deer's in the middle of the street. I'll get over to the right. It was facing like it was gonna run left lane, so it looked like it was gonna go
Who's going to blink?
into the lane I was in. Yeah, so I dove over to the right lane, and this motherfucker does a U right in the middle of the street, and tries to book it back into the lane I was in. It literally ran its head into the side of my car. I didn't even hit it head on. It bumped its head into the side of my driver's side
Kill shot?
wheel well. No. I heard a thunk, though. It probably walked off like 10 feet and then died.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I was going 70. It was just like, oh shit, if I stop, I can't stop in time. So I tried to go around it. It ended up running into the side of my car. I pulled off right away. I got out with my phone. It's like, oh, where's that deer? I don't see it. Looked at the side of my car. No damage.
Instagram fodder right here.
No damage. Yeah, no damage.
Oh, man. Lucked out, I guess.
I think, though, something might have happened with my alignment. I'm not 100% sure. I should probably go get it looked at. But, man, that was a thunk of the ages. And all I could think of was that thing is bleeding out of its inside its own.
I'm ruining some poor deer's Christmas.
All I
You
could think of was
monster.
that thing's bleeding internally, and it's having blood in
Eternally.
its brain.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's having brain bleeding.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Christmas. So I did a ton of shopping today.
I was going to say, on the topic of deer, hitting a deer, my dad hit one when we were living up north with, like, he had one of those big Chevy conversion vans. And it was like when vans were vans, you know.
When they had wood paneling on the side.
Yeah, they did. It was like a nice van.
All the seats had fold-down armrests.
They had fold-down armrests. You could rotate the seats around to like,
Everybody had their own cup holder.
that actually had like a little table that had cup holders around
Yep.
it.
I'd seen those. Those
Yeah.
are kind of tight.
Had like
wanted
this
one
little
of
like
those.
impromptu stripper pole. You just like put the fucking pole in for the
Yeah.
drinks to hold up.
I always wanted one of those when we were in high
The
school.
mattress in the back
and-
so you could seduce children with candy.
No, I would have left the back seat. I always wanted one of those for just high school shenanigans where we just drive around for
And smoke a bunch of pot.
yeah, just drive around endlessly in the middle of nowhere.
Back in the Monchez runs and shit.
Yeah, and then you go to the gas station. We'd all have cup holders, a little table for chips.
So, Dad hits a deer on Halloween. It was like a 12
Astro.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't an Astro, it was a Chevy. Okay, Chevy.
Okay.
So he comes to pick me up from the school function. I literally went as a box of Diet Mountain Dew. This is like when, yeah.
What you fucking went as Tab?
Yeah. Just imagine it was like, what do you want to be for Halloween this year?
Tab Cola.
I want to be a box of Mountain Dew. I actually won like a little costume contest for that. But
Why?
because
What was everyone else?
I don't know, some fucking rubber mask that they went and
A bag of
bought.
Cheetos?
It was okay. It was like me and this other kid who actually had one of those badass masks where you'd squeeze the heart and the blood would drip down the face.
Yeah, I remember a couple kids had those. I did not get one of those. But yeah, the one where you pump it and the blood comes out and you wish it screamed too.
We
And
got the
went,
wrong holiday here. We got the wrong holiday. Krampus. We're covering Krampus here. So my dad, he comes to pick me up at school. It was like a 12-mile journey from where we lived to the school. So
That's fun.
He comes back and he's like, I hit a deer on the road home. And I was like, oh. But then we got to like where he hit the deer. It was just like a fucking
Puddle.
bloody mess on the road. No deer, but it was just like, here's where he hit the deer. Just blood all over the
Happy
fucking
Halloween.
pavement. Happy Halloween, son.
It's something spooky for you. Put a little blood in the street. Yeah, I've been in a couple deer crashes now.
I feel like I should bring this up now because there's not much more to the story, but I found a news story of a guy who was poaching deer for their heads to sell, and he was just like leaving the bodies, and he had like a bunch of deer that he had killed. And the fucking judge that sentenced him in his sentencing said he has to watch Bambi.
Oh yeah, that is like a punishment we would think up.
Right? He has to watch Bambi once before the 23rd, and then he has to watch it at least once a month during his year sentence.
That's like some shit we would think up. That also reminds me of Addams Family, where they go to it's like a Christian rehabilitation camp.
Oh, I thought you meant like a friend Adam because you're like Adam's family.
No, the Addams family.
Yeah,
Oh,
you didn't.
I
You left the
gotcha.
out. Like some Soviet
But
fake news article.
You've seen that movie, like Wednesday and them are at this camp that's basically like trying to reform them and make them into Stepford children.
And happy.
And they like put them in a
Isn't
shack.
that guy from Mad About You one of the counselors?
I think so. It's hard to remember. I haven't seen that movie for a while.
Fucking child Christina Ricci. Creepy little Christina Ricci.
That's like a tongue twister. Creepy little Christina Ricci.
Say that 5 times fast. Let us know if you could do it in the comments below.
Ooh, nice. Really do though. Can you do it?
And by the way, Facebook.
Don't lie, we'll know.
Facebook, we're on it. Get up on there if you're fucking 50 years old and still use Facebook.
Or if you're quitting and you have another social media platform you like to reach us on, let us know in the comments below on YouTube. Yeah, this is the story you sent. Missouri deer poacher. So like the plan was he taxidermying the heads?
I think he had like a whole crew. Like some of his kids were involved and shit. Yeah, they were taxidermying and like selling them for profit, dude.
I kind of picture the taxidermy job, since it was involving his kid, like being really crappy. Mm-hmm. Like the tongue hanging out and the eyes being like children's marbles. Just like a really poorly done taxidermy job. You can see like stitch marks.
Actually be kind of cool.
So
our part of the artistic.
Our Christmas episode has turned into more of an episode of horrors.
I was kind of going for that. I was trying to look up like Christmas traditions from other countries and just try to find the odd ones, but nothing particularly horrific. But
you got that story I sent you about the Chinese town that canceled Christmas?
Yeah, I did see that. Which is kind of funny because there's not a very big Christian population in China.
I don't even think there's really a big following for Christmas in China. My understanding is New Year's is their big giving gifts and celebration.
Yeah.
Same with Russia.
But in the big cities, like because they had more of like a Western influence on them, like Beijing,
Like Hong Kong for
yeah,
sure.
Hong Kong, and one
got a
other
lot of
city
expats
is
in Hong
Christmas.
Kong.
Christmas is pretty big there. It's all that business, baby.
But yeah, they canceled Christmas. I don't really think. I wanted to send the story and go on.
I'm just imagining a fucking
No capitalist,
real
capitalist
life
holiday.
a real
type of-
life Chinese heat miser, just like singing his glory. He's like, yes, Christmas canceled. I'm the heat miser.
I was kind of hoping it would be a big, like an anti-capitalist. I was hoping for more pictures in the article, but it's actually just a bunch of people dressed up for Christmas in China.
Apple's getting the fucking smackdown in China, man. They're getting a ban for iPhone sales in China.
Yeah, seemed to be some fallout with the
Trade war.
the whole trade war and a number of other things going on. Yeah, Apple and Facebook's taking a harder tumble right now, or at least Zuckerberg's in the crosshairs, but
Of the U.S. government.
and the EU. But Apple,
But for
Apple
China,
seems like it's getting lined up for some foreign government targets.
China has fucking competitors that they're offering like
Huawei,
flag.
right?
Yeah, Huawei.
Sorry if I'm saying
Huawei. Yeah, if you know how to pronounce that shit, let us know in the comments below. So yeah, they have those other companies that are offering like flagship phone specs for like half the price, and Apple just really can't compete.
What a shock.
I know. Dude, Apple is just sticking it in their fucking consumers, man. And it's like crazy to see like these same things come up. It's like, my fucking Apple thing is broken and I can't do anything to fix it. Like, what should I do? It's like, buy a PC. For the last time, I said, no, don't tell me to buy a PC. It's like, oh, okay then. Okay.
Yeah,
But why
it's that-
fucking ask?
I feel like not just Apple, but a number of companies are. Apple hasn't necessarily felt it yet, but a number of companies are just refusing to adopt or address their current business practices and are just like there seems to be a push recently where businesses are just like, it's the consumer's fault for not using our product.
No,
like,
it's the children who are wrong.
yeah. Like a lot of it will just be like, oh, millennials are ruining Applebee's and Chili's, and it's like, are we though?
Like, honestly, if I wanted to, pour cement in my guts, I'd just do that.
Is it our fault that you guys suck and we don't want to buy your products as much anymore? I don't think that's our fault.
We also don't have the fucking money to like buy a lot of those things, compared to
Especially if I
previous
know it's going to
generations.
break like an Apple product. Zing.
To give them credit though, they do offer device support longer than a lot of Android devices do. Like,
I can't help with that yet.
oh my God, shut up.
Is that the Google Home thing
Yeah.
going off?
Yeah, I
Scared
don't know
the
why it
fuck
did.
out of me. I was like, you got a woman over here? She's just
Yes,
sitting
I've
in the
got
other room. Didn't even
Her
say
name
hi.
is Racing Green British. That's the actual. It's called British Racing Green. That's the voice I picked. I was torn between that and the Australian.
So you have your own Google version of Alexa.
Yep. And you can't say that in a podcast, man. That's like
Google Alexa.
you can't say the activation words, because while I was like reviewing some of these products and stuff like that, a lot of the good content creators know they put it in the videos like, I'm not going to say certain words so I don't trigger your devices, because
I
when
don't
they
want
say
you to
that
get
shit
triggered.
when they say that shit in their fucking episodes, it will turn your devices on and start giving them commands. Your device will go on from the keyword and then start listening to everything that they're saying and like firing off a bunch of false commands.
Yeah, I don't want your Alexas to get triggered.
Dude, okay. I didn't send this one. I just came across this story I was taking a dump before you arrived. Alexa told somebody to kill their step-parents.
Yeah, I got it up right here. I sent that
You did?
over too, because I was just like, this is too good, because I don't think we posted it yet, but we were working on an ad-lib video for an old episode of Garfield.
Oh,
And
right.
We were. It was in a very similar vein to what
kill your
Alexa.
step-parents.
Yeah, it was a very similar vein of what happened to this user's Alexa. So you want to fill everyone in on this story, because I only read a brief.
I can't really blame them because it's kind of like some Cleverbot shit, you know? It's like a vocalized Cleverbot, basically. Probably a little bit more advanced. But they're sourcing answers. They're teaching it to like troll the internet and like draw its answers from the internet. And it's a vast ocean of shit out there.
Yeah.
You can't control everything that it's going to say. So... honestly, I think that's kind of funny.
But
I kind of wish my Google Assistant had a little bit more, snappy wit. I wish I could talk shit to it and it would talk shit to me. But that's not for everybody.
like the people who are worried about getting triggered.
Okay, Joe Rogan.
So, how was this necessarily possible? Wouldn't this affect multiple people's Alexas?
Not necessarily, because it's a new function. It's not like it's just the regular answer thing. There's like this new mode that they're trying to introduce where you can have more of a general, like a chatbot,
Okay, so I guess here's the real question. How do I get my parents' Alexa to do this at their home after I'm done visiting for the holidays?
I'm not sure. I'm not an Alexa user. I went with the Google option because I don't particularly like Amazon's products, like their hardware. I don't really think their their streaming service is probably the worst out of all the stuff, and it's just something that they like tack on to some stuff. I have gotten a decent amount of like viewing out of it though, but it's not like something that I got Amazon Prime for. But I've always thought that their Fire line was garbage. The Kindle Fire. I always thought it was like it was a device that like my mother would get,
My parents got a Kindle.
My
They used
mom
it for a
did
little
too.
bit,
Yeah.
but now they just buy books again.
Right. And I always thought it was kind of dumb to buy the Fire because it was like you could just get the Kindle app on any other tablet. Why would you just get some like knockdown version of it? It didn't even used to be a variant of Android. Now it is. So I think they're a little bit better. I can't really speak for more recent models, but the earlier ones
you probably
was just
haven't
like,
even used one or seen one in ages. I haven't seen a
They're still
Kindle in
selling them.
ages. Yeah. I don't know. People can enjoy what they want to enjoy.
yeah, enjoy what you want to enjoy, but I'm still wrong.
You're wrong. Well, I'll have to look into this. So after Christmas, I can get my parents' Alexa acting inappropriately.
They have one.
Mm-hmm.
I just got my dad a Google Home Assistant.
One bot described sexual intercourse using words such as deeper, which on
Nice.
its own is not offensive, but was vulgar in this particular context. So it looks like you can get it to talk about a number of inappropriate things.
But again, it's like a certain mode it has to be in, or it's not just like giving you like direct answers. It's
Amazon,
like meant to be like
download
this.
program, shock my parents.
Did you see that?
Okay.
That fucking. I'm gonna not say the activation word, but Amazon play Skyrim when they. Did you see that joke? They did it at a E3 when they were announcing their Elder Scrolls mobile game, and then their
Skyrim 6 or whatever.
yeah, Skyrim 6, Elder Scrolls 6. What the fuck's wrong with you? But they had that like Key and Pele guy. Which one is it?
Key and Pele, yeah. Key and Peele.
One of them
good
was
man.
doing the commercial for that, and it had him like jokingly playing Skyrim on
The taller dude who's
the
bald,
Amazon device.
the
Yes.
taller bald dude who does all the fun stuff because I don't remember which one's which anymore. I think that's Key.
I never really got into their show.
They had
And
a couple good skits. But
yeah, they
I
had a
mean,
couple good skits, but fucking, I kind of agree with Chappelle, man. He has been known to say is like after he quit, and then he took the high road on that, and he just had to like watch, and he's like, man, those motherfuckers are doing my show, Not because he's black and they're black, but because it was like a stand-up comic doing
show,
sketches, yeah. And he's just like, motherfuck. He made out good in the end, though, man. Like $40 million for a set of 4 specials. When he just does that shit like all the time, he'll just like walk into comedy clubs unannounced and do sets that are like hours and hours long.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be that mad. You left it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had your reasons for leaving it, but you did leave it.
Mm-hmm.
So can't be too mad. They just filled the void that
Chappelle
people were
show was
clamoring
so
for.
much better, though.
I know, but
So much better.
they tried to fill the void that people were clamoring for. People were looking for more.
But I feel like Key and Pele was it was like Chappelle's show mashed together with Looking Excited with Jazz Hands. Yeah, is that a good analogy for it? I just feel like some of the skits that they were doing, just it was more like some like thespian kid doing it than a stand up. Because I don't think he
it was
or Pele
more-
was like stand up comedians. They were like one was from Mad TV, so it was like comedic
It felt
acting,
like,
not stand up.
It felt like Chappelle's show, but the person handling it had on like a pair of latex gloves and a mom's house cleaning apron, and was just like, "We're gonna clean this up and drop it back in the oven."
That's a pretty
We're
good way to put
gonna
it.
reheat dinner for you, kid. Now, granted, there were some.
It's still good. I'll just cut this little moldy bit out here and throw that away.
Yeah, I could say some stuff, but yeah. Yeah. That is definitely how it felt, though. But man, the first skit with the not wanting the wife to hear you, that skit was goddamn gold.
That was the thing, though. Like, they had their moments. They definitely had their moments. Like, I feel like it was better to watch the good ones after the fact on YouTube. Kind of like watching
In the streamlined version of the TV show, all the good bits in one go.
It's kind of like getting the good stuff from Fallon or Colbert the next day, versus like spending the whole hour watching all of it. Kind of like some show that I know that I might be on right now. I actually need to get back to in the habit of doing some highlights. So, hey, if there's a segment that you are listening to in this show that you feel should be highlighted, let us know in the comments below.
The highlights of TV shows, though.
Oh no! Oh, sir,
God.
have you been drinking tonight?
The two freaking sips I took out of
Right?
this thing.
Your fucking headlight is gonna finally the element in it is finally gonna short out from hitting the deer, and you'll be driving around.
I just
with
replaced that
one
headlight,
fucking
too.
headlight, and then an officer's gonna pull you over and just smell the beer that you just dumped on yourself.
No.
Oh, and that's a bad mess.
I was going to talk about TV show highlights, some having to do with John Oliver, but
Another video from John Oliver.
last night.
Did you see that fucking clown part of the YouTube review? Like,
John Oliver?
yeah.
He reviewed you. Oh, The YouTube in review, the year in YouTube review.
Yeah, it's like a video that they
I didn't
do
watch it.
every year. It's fucking. It used to be really cool, but now it's like pretty much being hailed as the cringiest shit ever.
Like that Aji Pie music video about.
Oh my god, pretty much.
Was that in it?
No,
Remember when the FFC?
no, nothing cool like that was in
Remember
it.
the FCC posted a video saying that net neutrality, we'd still be able to use our fidget spinners and watch memes? I mean, GIFs, I mean, memes, I mean, internet, you know? Hello, fellow kids.
Basically,
Hello, I love Fortnite too. I am Aji Pie.
oh god.
Don't steal my dance moves. You saw that?
That was around this time last year, I think, because he was like dressed up in a fucking Santa Claus thing.
With his squirt gun, Nerf gun, fidget spinner, duct tape to his forehead.
I was surprised to find out today that Santa Claus is an American creation. It's based off of like other cultures' stuff, but like Santa Claus itself is an American thing that was
I thought Saint Nick
popularized.
was a.
Saint Nick and Santa
was
Claus
the-
are like the actual
I thought Saint Nick was
character
the arch side of
Santa Claus. Well, there's Saint
the
Nick.
nice side of Krampus. There's Krampus and Saint Nick.
Well, Saint Nick was some fucking. The story was that a family did not have the dowry for a marriage, and Saint Nick came to help these two star-crossed young lovers, and to ensure that they could be married, he dropped the dowry that the person didn't have down the chimney.
Oh. But then he found out they were in a sodomy, and then he stuck Krampus on him. Because I thought
Then Jesus sent him to hell.
I thought the whole thing was if you're a good kid, Saint Nick puts black licorice in your wooden shoes, and if you're a bad
There's
kid,
a bunch of shit
if
like
you're
that.
a bad kid, Krampus comes and spanks you and takes you away.
That's the German one, I think, particularly. But there's a bunch of shit out there. Like, there's variations of it where, like, the gift giver comes. Sometimes it's the Christ child. Sometimes it's a representation of the Christ child. It's literally a baby with wings and comes and delivers your presents. But
What about
with like
robots?
the good stuff and then the Cole narrative, sometimes it's like he gives you sticks instead. Like,
What about because all my holiday knowledge comes from Futurama. What about Robot Santa and Ramadan Bot?
oh
What
my
about
God.
their?
I never saw Ramadan Bot, but I remember Robot Santa very vividly.
Yeah, there was an episode where they a number of the Christmas episodes where they're either fighting Robot Santa or in one of them they have to help Robot Santa. They run into Ramadan Bot, who's just like, "Oh, I'm still handing out flyers about Ramadan and trying to get people to understand what it's all about."
Oh, it's fucking great. One of the traditions I had hit upon was in some countries, it's customary for there to be a locked room that the kids are not allowed to go in.
Don't go in that locked room. It's mommy and daddy's sex pit.
Right? That's what I was thinking. They're supposed to decorate the tree and not let the kids see it so they can reveal it to it is a new world for Kitty to explore. You know, that kind of thing. The majesty of seeing the Christmas tree for the first time.
That's kind of cool though. Like you have to put all your in that respect you only have to put all your decorating into one spot. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to do the rest of the house.
Which
it's
I
just
guess
one
is
room,
cool.
Which is going to be Billy's closet, which you'll also refer to as his new room, and then he can just live underneath the stairs.
But I was going along the thoughts of just like you. It's like, oh, this is going to be mommy and daddy's fucking sex dungeon for a little bit so they can get away from the kids. This is mommy and daddy's Christmas time.
It's like Friday
before-
after next.
Yeah. I haven't
next
seen that
Friday.
one.
Sorry, next Friday. Friday
only
after
seen the
next
first
is
Friday.
the Christmas one. Next Friday has Mike Epps, and they go to Rancho Cucamonga, and Craig's step. No,
Doesn't
Craig's
matter.
aunt.
Minor deal.
Craig's aunt
Minor
has like a
detail.
sex dungeon. in that one. Yeah.
Or the only oh yeah, I guess Christmas and Sex Dungeon. I was gonna be like, is that the Sex Dungeon came up and that's what you thought of? But no, it was like
no.
Christmas
When I think of a Sex Dungeon, I always think of that one though.
Why it was really good?
Well, just like the visual layout of it was like compartmentalized, like shelving in the back, and each one was like a dildo in each compartment. When it was like just like the lighting in there, it was like, oh, this is a sex dungeon. This is like this will now forever be the visualization of a sex dungeon. Like a rack was in there and like a sex swing. Although if you burn after reading, or wait, what's the one with George Clooney?
I don't know.
And Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt works at a gym. Yeah, that's Burn After Reading, right? Brad Pitt works at the gym, and but George Clooney makes like that sex, the sex chair. I know you've seen like a video clip
yeah,
of it.
That chick from fucking Fargo is like staring at it, like
yeah, he's like, I
yeah.
got something to show you. Been working on this in the old workroom downstairs, and it's like a bicycle seat, but the middle's open, and like you pedal on it, and
like
then
Mr. Garrison's fucking revolutionary car thing.
Exactly. the Uniwheel or whatever.
You know what? I almost bought you for Christmas. I almost bought you the Fractured But Whole South Park game. So I was like, Stefan likes South Park, but then I remembered the last game you gave me was fucking Dream Daddy.
I saw it, and it was like the guy's tag name is just too fitting.
Oh, Dream Dad? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole. Played that for like 15 minutes when Sean came over. He was like, so Stefan got your Dream Daddy, man. I got to see this. I was like, all right, I'll download it.
And?
It's fucking gay. Like, literally. You can't even chastise me for it. The game is gay. Thanks, Stefan.
That's funny. And now it'll forever be in your library. You'll be scrolling through your Steam games, and
yep, it's right there, staring at me, waiting
Dream
for
Daddy.
me to pick it back up. So, speaking of sex dungeons, the movie that my mind always goes to for sex dungeons is the one that fucking the one other movie other than Star Wars I've seen Hayden Christensen in. Fucking Euro Trip. It was like the spiritual successor to Road Trip. And they're at like some kinky German sex club, and they bring out like this fucking dildo jackhammer thing, and the dude's like tied up, and they give him the safe word, and it's like Opfelbruchstig-Sturpenheimer, something he can't pronounce. So they're just like jackhammering him in the ass, and he can't say the safe word properly because he has to say it exactly correct, and he can't do it.
That's why in The Goods, what is that movie called? The Goods, Live, Die, and Sell Hard or something. It was a Will Ferrell film. The safe word is blueberry pancakes.
My favorite safe word will forever be Oklahoma. From when they got Preston. From when they got Preston in Jackass, they got him a couple of dominatrixes in a hotel room.
Yeah, The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard. It's about auto dealing.
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck about some Will Ferrell movie. I only want new Will Ferrell movies. I only care about Will Ferrell's friendship with fucking
John C. Reilly.
Yeah, it was John C. Reilly.
I mean, I think Will Ferrell was only in it for 5 seconds. He falls out of an airplane dressed as Abe Lincoln, and his backpack is full of dildos.
Sounds like a fucking hit. Sounds like a great movie. Hey, Will, you want to make 30 grand? You only have to do one thing. Sure. Yeah,
Jump out of an airplane dressed as Will Ferrell. I mean, dressed as Abraham Lincoln, and pull this parachute cord, and dildos will come out. All right, not enough of sex. I want to talk about this disabled man changing his mind about the head transplant. I was really excited to see how that was going to go.
Right. I just wanted it to be like a bookmark, basically, because the article itself is uninterested. Basically, he got married, had a kid. Good for him. Like, here, we'll show you.
Here's the wife.
Like, woo. So,
But what if she leaves him because he's not getting the head transplant?
Right? What? Yeah. What if she was just doing that just to like get his money or whatever?
But she had a kid.
Yeah,
so.
they had a kid. Apparently, they have a really good relationship. They like get each other, but
She's
know,
got a thing for guys in wheelchairs, supposedly.
yeah, because they can't get away.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess
Ooh,
he was.
It's been a while since I had to pull a buzzer.
He was gonna have his head removed and put on a new body. I'm sure the body
By some fucking creepy German scientist.
Yeah, it's something out of straight.
It was
up
a
like the
Russian
Venture
scientist,
Brothers.
but
Yeah, it's something straight out of the Venture Brothers. But the
God, I
scientist-
remember a couple years ago. It was like the wee hours of the morning at Sam's house, and Steve-O had came with. And
finger?
Sam had these fucking, like, those wooden things you put in your shoes to, like, stretch them out. And fucking Steve-O, like, put them down the
He had
sleeves.
shoe horns.
Yeah, shoe horn. Oh, well, no, shoe horn's what you slip in the back, I thought, behind your heel to get your shoe in and out. That's a shoe horn.
Maybe. All right, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So these, like, he puts them down and, like, replaces his hands with them, and he's like, I woke up one morning and some German scientist told me these were my new hands. And he just slowly rubs his face. I should upload that to the fucking channel. Watch for it in the coming weeks, people. Steve-O's going to just be like, what the fuck is that doing up there?
That's comedy gold. Sorry.
It is.
But yeah, he was gonna have his head removed and put on a new Adonis-like body. I'm literally picturing, like, we killed Brad Pitt and now you can have his body type thing. But
paid good money for that shit.
But yeah, he's getting it canceled, and it's just interesting because in the article, the doctor who used to be based in Russia is now in China, and he straight up just
because they
sounds
fund
like
that kind of shit there, man.
Yeah, no, but he just straight up sounds like some mustache twirling villain who's currently doing it on dogs.
He
and puppies.
literally, have you seen this guy in like fucking interviews? He literally comes off like the fucking villain from the Human Centipede almost.
All right,
he's just like
Google him
very
right now.
straight and to the point. But like he's like deadly serious and everything that. Yeah, look at this guy.
He literally looks like he'd be one of the doctors in one of the Resident Evil films.
So
you want to do an impression of what his voice is probably like?
I can't remember. It's just like so creepy. Oh my god. Actually, he looks a little less creepy. He looks genuinely happy. Yeah, he expresses happiness.
Yep, there he is in Half-Life 2.
So, this guy claims, nobody's seen proof of it, that he was able to successfully transfer the head of like a monkey and some other, like rats and monkeys. He was able to do it.
Jeez, he's ripped. You know what he reminds me of is one of the evil doctors that was in an X-File episode. They were going to transplant this dude's brain. And Mulder actually got mixed up in it. They were going to use his body.
They were, I remember when this initially hit, like a couple years ago, though, they were talking about like some of the unforeseen consequences of it. It's like, even if it was successful, just like think about like the chemical composition of like stuff that would be just like flooding your brain basically for like putting your head on somebody else's body. Like, what would they
Like, you
do?
just
Would they
go
empty
crazy?
your blood and put it in to the other person's body?
I don't know.
I don't even think that's possible. It would be,
We'd
like,
have
rejected.
to ask a doctor. Here's a more than likely doctored photo.
Yeah, let's not put that up.
You'd have to ask Dr. Sergio Canavero.
So the whole thing just sounded fucking crazy, but I was interested because this guy had essentially volunteered to... it was framed like he was going to die anyways. And then he was volunteering
in the
his life for
original
scientists.
article, it was like, I'm going to die anyway. I'm so lonely. I'm depressed. But now he's got a banging hot wife, and he's just like, I don't need any of that anymore.
Maybe it was one of those, like Ted Bundy cases where, he had fucking a bunch of people just throwing it at him when he was in jail. It's like, oh, love me. Like, even Stephen Avery has a fucking girlfriend. So there's just something about, like, the fame and that stuff. Part of me thinks it's like, if you're like a killer or something like that, there's like this primal like draw to it where it's like, oh, this person will kill somebody to protect me.
You're a bad boy.
You're a bad man.
You're a bad boy.
I'm a bad
But I mean, he's not really a bad boy. He's just kind of.
Oh, I was going more for like you
Wounded.
get famous and
Under some certain circumstances, and glamorous Russian women just seem attracted to you. You like that one?
what a country.
I remember reading some article that they had some serious problems with alcohol abuse because they have so many
lonely men.
single men, and they usually die. Statistics here are probably wrong, but a lot of them die before 46 from alcohol, just because it's hard working in the gulag.
Well, there's like a similar statistic for men in America that's not alcohol, it's bullets. Just blowing their brains. I had a fucking neighbor living here. You remember Marty?
Martin Crane.
we don't do the last names here, but
That's from Frasier.
oh, I wasn't a Frasier watcher, but
Yeah.
you are, just by the virtue of your fact, your dog has seen every episode of Frasier like 6 times over by now.
And I used to watch it.
Does she whine when the Frasier music starts to play? Does she know now?
She hasn't watched it for a while.
Oh, but yeah, man, he put a bullet in the head
In this building.
in this building.
Spooky.
Like this year, it's kind of crazy just to like hear it. It was like Marty shot himself, and I was like, what?
I didn't.
Whoa.
Were you home when it happened?
Yeah, well, he's not that close, like,
Oh.
but he is like not that far either. He's in the same fucking building.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
So, which one are we doing here?
Well, speaking of putting bullets in brains, I had this terrible dream. Okay? I think it was Tuesday, and the basic premise of this dream was everyone in the world around me was like obsessed with The Office, and I'm not a big Office fan, but Steve Carell was actually a zombie. And he was going around.
That why that fucking thing? Like it showed up in the news channel as like Steve Carell's zombie nightmare,
Yeah.
and I googled it. Like, what is this something like that I'm supposed to know about?
You googled it? I wonder what you got. But no,
I was like, what the fuck is Stefan on? Because sometimes you do weird shit, bud.
no, I
I was like, what the fuck?
well, this is weird, but I had this dream, and Steve Carell was actually like a zombie. He was running around like biting people, and they'd basically become
Hardcore Office fans?
yeah, just like I love Steve Carell, and they'd like try biting other people. And I was like the last guy left. I remember before I woke up, I was like I was basically running up flights of stairs on a skyscraper, and I ended up on the roof, and Steve Carell was up there coming at me with just the zombie. I took a shot at him. And it went right through the brain, but it didn't stop him, and he got me. And I woke up and I was an Office fan. Just kidding.
Those are. You're like, ah! Oh, Jesus.
I'm just gonna Google this because I can't believe you Googled it and I haven't yet.
Steve Carell. There's nothing.
Steve
Nothing
Carell.
comes up. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because Stefan's, we run a Slack just to like put the stuff we're going to talk about during the week. And Stefan, I'm assuming, I now know he just sent me Steve Carell's Zombie Nightmare. No context whatsoever, but just as a thumbnail to like remind himself. And I'm looking at this like, what?
Steve Carell Zombie Nightmare. There are tons of pictures of everything but Steve Carell. Like there's even that is Steve Carell. I thought that was Jim Carrey.
That's
Because he's
Steve
looking
Carell
haggard.
from when he was in the Geico commercials.
Oh,
Yeah, scrolled away from it. Now there's no context. For
Okay.
it. Funny.
but continue. I
was gonna say I had a dream this week that I actually remember, because usually you don't remember your dreams, even the ones that are you wake up and they're like, whoa, that was weird and vivid. And most people, they don't want to fucking hear about your dreams either. But that was pretty fucking fun. But I had a dream, because I've been working on like fucking like spec drawings at work. And this week, somebody sent me something that had no like measurements on it, just off of like a model, like a 3D model. And they're like, can you get the specs from this? And I was like, yeah, sure, let me look into it. And it was like something that had a bunch of like radiuses on it. And it wasn't really like set up to be like laid out well, as far as like if you have no frame of reference from how it was made. So I just went through, and anything that had something that could be measured, I just applied it to it. So then in my dream, fucking send this off in an email for the person, this like really shitty drawing. I'm like, I know it's shitty.
This is your nightmare, though.
Yeah.
You had a worse.
It's not a nightmare. Well, it's kind of a nightmare, but I'm just like going about my business, and then like somebody shows up, and I'm like going about my interaction with them. Just, I think it's at a store or something, and then I realize they have a T-shirt on with the fucking drawing.
Some Chinese company started printed T-shirt.
It was just like, what is this? Why do you have that on your shirt? It's like, oh man, it's the world's shittiest
Some Chinese companies printed them by the boatload.
Everybody in the new world knows and is making fun of you now.
That's funny.
That is so weird how shit just from your subconscious though just creeps into your mind in your fucking dreams.
And I know I had the Steve Carell dream. There were two things. Also, the zombies that were bit by Steve Carell just did the Office turn and look at the camera thing constantly.
Oh, the Jim through the blinds.
Yeah, just the dead look. But I know I had the dream. It's because he has that weird new movie coming out where I don't know if you've noticed this. Like, in
the
Steve
one where he fucking has PTSD.
But
It's
he's
based
like
on a true story, and he like makes some like World War II reenactment thing
With
that
dolls?
his friends can play with in his backyard.
So, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in a number of Steve Carell films, he's had characters that have a fancy for like weird making weird dioramas. Like, have you seen Dinner with Schmucks?
Nope.
He makes like little mouse dioramas. Now in this new movie, he's making like a Barbie and Ken doll diorama, but it's going to be like they're going to be moving in the film. If you've seen these ads, have you seen the ads for this weird film?
I saw him on, I think it was Colbert advertising it, and I actually saw like a scene from the movie. He's like in a courtroom and has a flashback, like while the person who assaulted him is in there, and he like has a flashback, and then like this whole like World War II thing goes down, and like everybody in the courtroom gets shot up, and he like crawls out of the courtroom on his hands and knees.
No, I haven't seen that one. I've just seen the like 30-second ad. But
yeah, dioramas. He likes to,
I think he
dip
actually
animals in
likes
formaldehyde.
I think he actually likes the diorama thing. But yeah, in Dinner for Schmucks, it was a thing with making mice dioramas and doing taxidermy or whatever else, which brings us to this weirdo.
Millennials really are ruining gingerbread men, Stefan. They really are.
They're ruining Christmas with this stuff.
Yeah, so I found this earlier. It's pretty simple. Weirdo makes gingerbread man with a real heart for Christmas. He's like a fucking taxidermist.
It's not that simple, though, because when I read the headline, I was thinking, this guy made gingerbread cookies with
that's what I was
hearts
thinking.
in it? No, it's actually...
It's like acrylic or something.
A lot.
It's like a resin.
It's a lot less.
But there's mice hearts in them.
The noose is a little bit overkill on the gingerbread man.
Those are so you can hang them from the tree, Stefan.
Yeah, I know, but he could have just embedded a hook into the molding process, much like
Dude, that's like a butcher's hook then, man. Come on. Which is more brutal, a noose or I guess you've been killed versus killing yourself?
So the image here is there's just some gray freeze-dried.
Oh, look, it's a candy cane noose, though.
Yeah.
I guess it is a noose. It really is a noose.
It's a noose.
He could have just tied a knot, but he fucking did the slip knot, man.
So you can see there's hearts that are inserted into the molding process, giving us some nice big smiley faces on these gingerbread molds, gingerbread-esque molds. And obviously this would be the face of...
Is that the new Aphex Twin album cover?
Yes, and I love the mice with the googly eyes that are on the mouths. So I'm guessing it's taxidermy work.
Wait. Are his ears gauged with fucking taxidermy mice?
Yeah.
Look at this motherfucker.
I'd bet you'd
Good
love...
fucking shit. I did not notice that earlier.
I bet you would love to sit next to this dude on the metro or the bus.
Could you imagine that dude just here, like in the hardcore scene? You got fucking just like... You got fucking hardcore show going down. You got the vegans on the scene. And here comes this fucking bro with his fucking ears gauged with dead mice.
I make taxidermied animals.
What? And then he'd like hold his hands cupped together out in front of you, and then he'd open it, and it would be like,
I made this for you for Christmas. Here you go.
it would be like just like the rat, a tail of a rat.
Just like, wait, is that a real heart on the inside? Yes. It symbolizes love.
Oh,
But-
here's some other things he's
Oh
making.
my god.
Popsicles. Like these aren't even like.
Oh my god.
It's a popsicle stick mouse.
I mean, where's he getting his stock? That's a little creepy because he's just not. He's probably just got a bunch. Mice fuck like rabbits. and
He's probably
rodents,
just going
but-
to Petco and buying like snake feed. Probably or something.
That's a little morbid though. Just to like kill something to put it into your fucking. Like that's it. You just want its body. I'm gonna fucking kill it and taxidermy it. It's one thing if like you kill an animal and you use the meat and then you get the shit taxidermied to keep. But it's another thing if you're just like you got a conveyor belt of fucking like mice and you're just does he have like a little mousy bolt thrower?
Yeah, I was gonna say, does he have a little bolt gun or bolt pistol? The cow. Yeah, it's a bolt pistol. Captive bolt pistol. That's what you use to kill a cow. I think.
Whatever they gave you first in Quake.
That's by a frame of reference, and I'm sticking to it. This guy's just like, yeah, I had, a real big backlog of cadavers. I had 12 of them left, and I had so many orders. It's, it's like you had 12 orders.
I started on Etsy.
You had
It completely took over my bead necklace business.
Yeah.
Speaking of Etsy, man, I joined this new Facebook group that I absolutely love. It's called Oils Won't Cure That Brenda. And it's just like a collection. It's a Facebook page for people to like find people in the wild who are trying to cure serious diseases with essential oils.
I read a very interesting story about a woman who put essential oils directly onto her skin and like burned her skin because you're supposed to use a solution to dilute them a little bit. And it was funny because the actual response on it was like, I actually work at one of these facilities that produces these oils. They have no like medical benefit, but like they are scented. Like the peppermint scent's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like you need to be diluting this stuff if you're going to be trying to use it even as like a perfume, just because of the properties of it. It's like a scalding chemical. Like you can't just directly apply it. And this woman had like directly applied it behind her ears and it like burned away some of her flesh.
Have you heard of something called black salve?
No. What is that?
I had seen something that was like truly disgusting on this page this morning. So this was a subset of photos that this person had linked.
Oh yeah, I've seen this stuff.
Yeah, to the group. Black salve is essentially what they used to prescribe to people for like melanoma and stuff. It's basically an acidic salve that will eat skin. And it's been shown to really have no medical benefit in the curing.
Just burns
of
your
that. Yeah,
your
it just
flesh
burns
off.
your flesh. So this guy he had a fucking catalog of stuff where he was explaining his process with what he would do. He said he would put a little dab of it on some bread and swallow it, and this would force the lesions to come to the top of his skin, and then he would apply the black salve to his skin and let it eat through all of his skin.
So what
and
did
there
this
was
guy-
pictures of it.
I was
It
gonna say, so what does this dude look like? Fucking Swiss cheese?
Oh my god!
What is he doing?
It looks so bad, dude. It literally just looked like it almost looked like scarification, except gangrenous, almost.
Like what the hell, dude? He's got to look like Swiss cheese. Like he's got to have a hole. All
There
the
was
way
no
through.
like full body pics or anything like that. And again, this was something that had not gone viral. It was
First
just something
takes
that was
the
sent
black
to that group.
salve, then it eats the black salve. Then it puts the black salve on its skin. Like what? Oh god! What are you doing?
I'm gonna have nightmares about that later tonight.
I will too, because that's not something you want to Google. It's definitely scarring for life.
I mean, literally, it is scarring for life. Put it on yourself. This guy was fucking putting it on bread and eating it, though. Ugh.
So this is one about putting something in your body that in excess.
Oh yeah, it was mainly because of the salt.
This lady thought that drinking a liter of soy sauce would be a good full body cleanse.
Mm-hmm. And it was a result of somebody trolling her online. Somebody had basically told her that
Oh yeah, you can lose some weight. Just drink a bottle of soy
it was a
sauce.
cleanse, though. The theory behind it was the salt in the soy sauce will go to your colon and it will draw the water to your colon because that's how salt works, basically. But when you digest that shit, it goes everywhere in your fucking body.
And
And it basically drew the water out of everywhere in her body.
and it looks like the individual that had recommended her to drink a liter of soy sauce told her it would be a bad idea to drink any water because it'll ruin the cleanse. So
Right.
she just downed all that sodium.
Oh my god.
And then it says here, resisted all urges to drink any water over
And
the next
vomit.
30 minutes while driving home.
She basically it like started to draw the water from her muscles, and then it started to draw the water from her fucking brain and caused her brain to shrink, thus damaging it. How stupid do you have to fucking be?
Like where are you getting this from? Facebook? Think she got it off Facebook?
4chan,
It's
I'm
like,
guessing,
looking-
something like that.
I don't even.
Reddit.
You know what though? I don't even think that she got it off 4chan. You know, like I don't even think. I think Joe Schmo or CG, as she's referred to in this article, got it off Facebook. I really do.
That's like some shit you'd hear about circulating on Facebook where it's like, oh, is your fucking windshield frosted over? Pour boiling water over it. Like,
Yeah.
just fucking shatter your shit. But there's been cases of people doing this shit just because they're fucking dumb.
So, did you get to almost the end of this story?
What was
Because
it?
there is a great line here that. So CG was in the hospital already for poor health, and she revealed that she had done this because she was already in poor health, and she said that she had been eating a
diet
of the
primarily
last
of
3
bread
weeks.
and something else.
and canned fish. So she was just eating tuna and bread for 3 weeks.
Oh, that's terrible too because canned fish is just like
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't 3 weeks. It was 6 months.
ooh.
So she was extremely deficient in vitamins and iron.
Yeah, that's another terrible thing too because like just eating that much fish, well, the mercury would just build up in your system, man.
That's insane.
So, yeah,
I wish it would say where she got this cleanse idea from.
so you had people leave your fucking
Leave your own cleanses in
leave
the
your-
comments below.
leave your soy sauce, leave your fucking crystals, your fucking woo healing energy. Just stop with that stuff. Stop telling people that are seriously ill to try that shit out.
Please get vaccinated so we don't get another outbreak
vaccinate
of
your
fucking
children.
measles. You seeing that now?
Yeah, there's a
The measles cases are just skyrocketing now. I'm almost convinced that the anti-vax thing is like I know you've heard this in the past, but people saying that like crack was introduced by the government or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I'm almost convinced the anti-vax campaign is like an underhanded government campaign to get people to drop population numbers, where it's just like, don't vaccinate. We got to get those population numbers down. It's crazy out here.
Or a certain political side to get the other one, because it's mainly hard lefties who are going for that shit.
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of have to... I was pulling for it. This is strictly conjecture.
But honestly, I could kind of see it. Just like I've seen a couple conspiracy talks where people are just like, there's so much population, not enough resources. I know you've probably heard of them online. You probably didn't sit through them, but
what I've seen like a really good like logical argument for like, we really haven't hit population cap, and it will kind of like even itself out once we hit around like 11 to 12 billion, because we still haven't hit like a true like population saturation where like for instance China has a big problem right now because they've limited their birth rates, but they have a large group of the population who is getting old all at once, so they have to release the restrictions basically.
you gotta release the sexual tension.
Well, you can fucking not have babies, people, but we haven't really hit that point where that all kind of just balances out. We still are at the point where we have like the baby boom. That's why boomers are called boomers. There's a huge baby boom of people who are just born in the same generational span, and the fucking population like multiplied like crazy since the end of World War II.
Well, if it makes anyone feel better, I don't plan on having children.
Me neither.
And I told this to my mother on Saturday, who for some reason was under the impression that I was going to be having children. And I damn near killed that woman. She's like,
Stefan, when are you going to give me a grandbaby?
Well, she was like, yeah, Brian and Jess aren't going to be having kids, because my sister has like a genetic thing. She has, I think it's called Ehlers syndrome. She just has like some joint issues. And then my brother was just like, isn't...
Oh, and they've just decided to not?
My sister did, apparently. But
Good on her.
I don't know 100% the backstories. I haven't talked to my sister, but mom was like, yeah, Jess and Brian aren't having kids, but Stefan is. I talked to Brittany. And I was like, I'm not having kids. And my mom was like, what? Gave me a look like I stabbed her in the back 20 times, Julius Caesar style, just like, what?
Sorry, Mom. Is your mom a listener?
Probably not.
Your dad's just going to hear this, just laugh his fucking ass off.
I think we'd, if we did decide we wanted to have a child running around and, being a child, I'm not a big fan of kids. I think we'd adopt over,
I think I would probably go the route of I'm 30 now, and when you're in your late 20s and early 30s, when you go on Tinder, it is 3 categories: ugly girls, girls with kids, or be single. So I'm thinking I'm going to sign on.
Doug?
I'm going to sign on. If I ever decide to have kids, I'll be the stepdad, and I'll sign on, halfway through the sentence. So I only got to do like 8 years time. How about that? How about that, Judge Stefan?
We don't have a clapping sound effect, but
Nah, I feel like those are so overdone. I hate those when fucking podcasts play that. Yeah, yay me, yay me, yay me. But yeah, don't look up a fucking clapping sound. God damn it! Is that what you were doing? Cheer. Now get your head back in the game. Stop fucking typing that shit out. You're not gonna leave me out here to dry while you look up some fucking.
I want you to
lame-ass
dry up
cheer.
like a sponge.
I don't need it. I need it.
You're gonna dry up like a woman that drank a liter of soy sauce.
Oh God. Sometimes I wanna.
Unbelievable.
Somebody at work was eating.
What's
we
funny
had
is
a
a guy-
Christmas party last week, and we had some leftover roast beef, and it's been in the fridge for like a week. And she's just like, "Yeah, there's some roast beef in there. It's
My
still
tummy
good.
hurts."
I ate it yesterday. I figured if it's good yesterday, it's good today." And I was like, "Well, at least if it's not, you don't got to come into work tomorrow."
Did I tell you about the guy at my work that did the milk jug gallon challenge? Did I tell you about this?
Maybe when.
This was a while.
Regale us,
This was a
Stefan.
while ago. Okay, so this dude at my work was under the impression that he could drink a gallon of chocolate milk in under an hour.
Chocolate milk. And
Now,
that. You have
do
all
you-
the fucking
do you
sugar in there and
understand-
shit
do you
too.
just
And
under-
syrup.
Do you understand the science of the milk jug challenge and why like what is supposed to happen?
You're supposed to puke. I know that. You're not supposed to be able to do it. Kind of like the cinnamon thing, but that's like an instant thing. But what is the science on why you can't drink a gallon of milk?
In the amount of time it takes your stomach to digest the gallon of milk, it begins to curdle. So that's why you vomit, is because you have milk curdling in your stomach.
Oh, cool.
It's not even something that a lot of professional food eaters can do. You have to very much train your body for it. It's just the amount of time it takes your body to digest. So this individual was under the impression that I can drink a gallon of milk. I used to drink a gallon of milk and go play basketball with my friends. I'll do it. Excuse me. I'll do it tomorrow. Who wants in on this bet?
Oh, come on.
Who wants in on this bet? And some people were going around and
Bet?
yeah,
bet?
Oh, a bet. And somebody was like, "Wha-" like some people came up to me and was like, "What happens when people drink a gallon of milk under an hour?" I was like, "You die." I was just like, "You die." So
You're just stirring the fucking pot here.
I was just like, yeah,
it's
you
like,
just die
okay,
instantly.
milk challenge. A bunch of people can't do it. It's a thing. You'd think, being a logical individual, you just Google it.
Yeah. So
I've never had the thing in my head like be like, oh, I should drink a gallon of milk just because it's a challenge to do.
But this individual likes the feeling of being on top, and when he's
he likes to be on top, huh?
Yeah, when he's not, oh man, he is just miserable. That
sounds like a really interesting thing to like manipulate.
He goes into full
set up
defensive.
little fucking just manipulate him like that. Set up competitive like stipulation for something that you want to like kind of coax him into, and then just get him to do shit because of it.
I haven't had the pleasure of working with him directly, but I've been around him, and he's the kind of individual that dishes out but can't takes it too. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to do this milk challenge thing. So
You tape it?
Nope, because we can't record stuff at work. So
he did it at work.
yeah. So that was the other thing, is it was like a huge
Is this guy
waste
an
of-
engineer?
No. It was just this guy.
I didn't
was
think
just-
so.
This guy, they wasted so much time with this goddamn thing. But this dude brought in a half gallon, and everyone was like, it's a gallon, not a half gallon there, bro. And he's like, oh no, I got another one. It's in the fridge because I don't want it to get warm. So he drinks the half gallon like instantly. And then there's like 20 minutes left in the hour, and it's like, you got to drink the rest of that, like the other half gallon, which he drank a quarter of, and then somebody didn't feel so good. And you know who wanted everybody to get the hell away from him? The guy who didn't feel so good because he just drank he just drank 6/8 of a gallon. I don't know. He drank a lot of milk. And it's just like, oh, baby doesn't feel so good.
Hey, Google, how many quarts in a gallon?
1 US liquid gallon equals 4 US liquid quarts.
But yes,
I mean, I guess that's why they call it a quart. So yeah, he drank like 6 quarts. You say? Maybe 5/8.
yeah, 5/8. He didn't get much. He didn't get much more than half. And then baby didn't feel so good. And then baby wanted everyone to get the hell away from him. And then baby got pissed off. And baby lost the bet.
He puke.
Oh yeah, he went to the bathroom and his
What the fuck?
yeah, he went to the bathroom and his little lackey followed him, probably to hold his hair back.
Oh, that's the worst though.
Yeah, don't. Oh, you know what? Yeah, no, we shouldn't be promoting drinking liters of soy or liters of milk.
What I was gonna say
Try both
is
at once.
his strategy for that was all wrong. A, it's physically impossible, and B, if you're gonna fucking do something like that that's gonna fill your stomach, you have to do it all immediately. Otherwise, you're gonna feel full unless you are a seasoned pro eater. Case in point, Dave Tarantino. We've been mentioning him every fucking episode
Because he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, he is the nicest fucking guy in the world. He's like the Dos Equis guy, the most interesting guy in the world, but he's the nicest guy in the world. Yeah. Hey, Dave Tarantino, if you're listening, let us know in the comments below. He always does. So we go and do the Fuddruckers challenge, which is like the 3-pound burger with the pound of fries.
Oh, yeah, you guys had the pictures of it.
God damn, like fucking, he did it the year before and failed. And then, God bless his soul, he was dumb enough to go and do it again with me.
But he had a real strategy when we talked to him.
He didn't. I did.
Oh, yeah,
he
that's
just
right.
fucking
He was
slopped on the fucking
like,
shit.
He was like, I just want a regular-ass burger with the works. Else.
It literally looked like he had taken a crab and fucking ripped its legs off and just was like holding its body, and its like crab juice was just leaking out of it. It was fucking disgusting to look at.
Yeah, you were the one that went in with the plan. You were like, I don't want anything but a bun and a patty, right?
No, I put some jalapenos on it, and I put some condiments on it because I also wanted to enjoy it, but I didn't like sop it. So I cut mine into quarters, which were like actual burger size. He just like ate it for like the spectacle of it. Just, I'm gonna eat the big burger.
I love it.
It's just a big burger.
I love it.
And it was just like gross. It was like literally like he had fucking ripped the fucking legs off an insect and was just, and it was just like.
And Dave isn't a stranger to eating challenges. If you go back,
no.
If you go back to our episode with Dave, he talks about his blazing hot wings challenge with a couple of his amigos. As I refer to them.
So I fucking slowed down. I made the mistake of slowing down. I probably could have made it if I just would have kept going, because I ate like almost, I'd say 5/8 of it and then slowed down.
I'm not the kind of guy who's going to put my body through that sort of physical strain.
You have to be emotional, you know?
But I'm not going to put my... I'm not going to put my...
I need some more sauce and some Gilmore Girls.
I'm not going to put my body through the physical strain that I know is required to eat that much food, like the hot dog challenges, where it's like eat as many hot dogs as you can.
Oh my God, I cannot watch that.
I am not dipping a hot dog in a bun in water. That's disgusting. I'm not going to do that with a hamburger. I'm not going to cut it into eighths and dip the bun in water just to get it all
They
down.
should put a fucking asterisk by those guys' names, and fucking, if you want to be a true champion, you should fucking have to slide that shit down your throat with your own lubrication.
It's got to have mustard.
Oh man,
The Chicago hot dog
I saw
eating
somebody
challenge.
shit all over Chicago and their fucking condiment editing, their snobby fucking. Oh, they fucking like to have a hot dog with literally everything from the fridge slopped on it like a fucking mess, and then they have the audacity to
say no
lift their
ketchup.
nose at you with no ketchup. No ketchup. You can't do that. We'll fucking shame you for it. It's like, look at that gross pile of shit that I actually personally think is delicious. But look at it. You fucking put everything on the goddamn thing. There's no nuance left over. It's just a pile of fucking shit.
It's sweet relish, hot peppers, mustard, onions. Am I missing anything?
Oh man, I
don't really
got a
care
little
what you put on
fiery
it.
there. Oh man.
I
Suck it, Chicago, for real.
I don't really care what you put on it, but
Don't shit on somebody for putting ketchup on it, of all
ketchup's
things.
gross. So
Like fucking sweet relish is basically ketchup without tomatoes. It's like pickle ketchup.
I just want to make sure I'm getting all the right condiments here.
Oh, that is
mustard?
literally the fucking picture.
Mustard, white onions, pickle relish, dill pickle, tomato wedges, pickled sports peppers, that's hot pepper, and celery salt.
It sounds like a fucking Bloody Mary.
The
in
complete
Milwaukee.
assembly of a Chicago dog is said to be dragged through the garden due to the many toppings.
When you say it like that,
The
it fucking
canonical-
sounds like you're gonna get your kid a model kit. It's like my Chicago hot dog kit that they can put together with like fucking airplane glue and all that.
Well, here's the closing statement from the Wikipedia episode. The Wikipedia episode. Oh my God. The canonical recipe does not include ketchup, and there is a widely shared strong opinion among many Chicagoans and aficionados that ketchup is unacceptable. A number of Chicago hot dog vendors do not offer ketchup as a condiment. But for National Hot Dog Day, July 19th, 2017, Heinz created controversy by introducing ketchup labeled as Chicago dog sauce. To the disdain of many Chicagoans. I love that. That's great. I think that's hilarious.
Where's Heinz from? It's like, hey, buds, fuck you. You're fucking with our
You want to take a guess? Take a guess where they're
our
from.
bread and butter. Heinz, Ohio.
Ooh, Pittsburgh. Who else is good at ribbon but those guys from Pennsylvania?
It's like, hey, fuck you, Chicago.
Philly and Pittsburgh guys are good at ribbon. I got to give it to them. What do I think? I think I love Chicago dogs. I think they're delicious.
Yeah, they're great.
I am just not a fan of ketchup. I don't like ketchup as a topping.
I like it on certain stuff. On a hot dog, I don't mind it.
I'm trying to think of
But
one I
ice
do.
cream, come on, that's where I
Come
draw
on,
the
Ed.
line.
That's disgusting.
Oh, what, was that the
I was
fucking
Googling
article for
ketchup.
2 Girls, 1 Cup? Ugh. You know, I
Who's
heard
our
it might have
guest
been
on?
faked.
Yeah, I was going to say, if that's what your mind needs, I think it might have, but if that's what your mind needs to help process that and make it all okay in your shelving spaces, that's fine. Who was the individual that was talking about that? Was that Crispy? And
Oh, 2 Girls, 1? I don't know.
were those? Oh yeah, that was after the fact.
I
That was
gotta-
after the fact. That was
I
the
gotta-
Dreamhouse Boys after the fact. We were talking in the kitchen.
I got to give an apology to the Greenhouse guys because
The Greenhouse Boys, the Dreamhouse Boys.
So yeah, the when I tried to post the Dreamhouse episode on the Facebook page, it just wouldn't let me.
What?
Like I posted it like 3 times, and it just was like, nope. And then, I would try to like get away from the page, and like the post would almost disappear, like it had posted, and then when I would try to click away from the page, it was like, are you sure you want to go away from the page? You have stuff that is waiting to be posted. that hasn't been posted yet. And I was like, I'm just posting. It's going to show up like 8 times in everybody else's feed, but it never did. So I have to go back and like tag them and post the episode again, even though it's been like 3 weeks.
Jesus.
I did do it on my personal account, and that's where the majority of our attention like comes from on that platform, because we only got like 50 people on Facebook. So if you're out there in Facebook land, get that fucking shove that thumb up my fucking asshole. Come on, just get it right.
Come on, give me the good stuff.
So speaking of ketchup ice cream and Ed Sheeran, he's getting sued for a similar story that this Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams story is in the vein of.
Did you read this?
I know all about this. I don't know if you recall. I don't know if you recall. Actually, we were at. This was many years ago. This lawsuit's been going on for a while, but we had been at a number of parties, and even before that this lawsuit started, I was like, they stole a Marvin Gaye song. Like, this is completely ripped off. This is like the Vanilla Ice Under Pressure type deal. And we were actually at a party, and I was like, you need to turn this off, because it infuriates me that this is such a blatant ripoff. Like, we could just listen to Marvin Gaye. It's better. And that guy had it real shit. Because Marvin Gaye got shot by his own dad, if I recall.
Yeah, something like that.
But I watched this story with mild interest for a little while, but obviously lawsuits take forever. And I'm glad that Marvin Gaye's estate ended up winning out, because it's such a blatant ripoff.
Well, that's interesting that you have more knowledge on it than I did, because this story frames it like, oh, precedent is being set in this case because they won on the stipulation that it rips off the vibe and the style, and not necessarily that it is a blatant ripoff.
No, it is a blatant fucking ripoff of.
That's not how they presented
of Marvin
in this story.
Gaye, of probably Marvin Gaye's most famous song. No, I implore you, go ahead and give it a listen, and you'll just be like, this is.
Well, I guess there's no shame in it now, because it's been stated that they will get the money.
What are they getting? Like $5 million or something?
No, they get $5 million for it, but they also get the revenue from the song.
50% of all future royalties.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, it seems like a couple other artists are just mentioned in this story about plagiarism, Ed Sheeran being one of them, which is how we made this incredible jump.
Now, it's probably not his fault. Ed Sheeran's just the front guy, and whoever, you don't get that big without having somebody write your fucking songs for you.
Yeah, especially at that level. I'm not sure if you're as familiar with these stories, but I've seen a number of stories where artists get picked up by much larger labels than some of the small homegrown stuff. Like I want to go with like Universal and stuff like that, where I actually want to say it might have been Mac Miller many years ago. I remember me and Sean talking about it, where this guy got basically a record contract, and they were like, yeah, we'll fly you out to Hollywood, Las Vegas, that type of deal, and we'll get working on an album together. You can work with artist X on releasing like a feature on one of their tracks. And you know, this individual who I can't say with 100% certainty who it was, but this individual heads to the interview process just ecstatic for this opportunity, has like a backlog of work that they're ready to work with, and basically gets sat into a conference room with a bunch of suits where they're just like, you know what's hot right now? Pagers. Let's work pagers into this story and this song, you know, like getting a framework into the eyes of how like Katy Perry's TGI Friday song would have been released, where it's just like, kids love onesie pajamas.
This is
Can
like
we
the
work
story
onesies?
of how The Last Jedi got ruined.
Yeah. Can we work onesie pajamas into this story? And kids pagers and
You know what I think this needs? I think this needs cigarettes. Kids are smoking cigarettes nowadays.
You guys got them vape pens?
Yes.
Yeah.
How about that cotton candy e-juice, huh? You like to put that in there? Why don't you put that in your hook?
And the guy, I remember in the story, the guy was like, yeah, I had my notebook with all this stuff, and it was basically me and the other feature artist on the end of the table. The other feature artist is just like on their phone the whole time, and he just like slowly puts his notebook like basically back into his pocket and is just like, I can't do this.
Well, good on him for having some integrity, but probably passed up a bunch of money that he was going to make. And there is stuff you can, if you have the know-how to take, just take it up the ass for a little bit and then reallocate what you've made with that. You can jumpstart if you have, an idea of what to do.
Well, I think said individual is in a pretty good spot still, but I can't remember all the specifics of the story. But yeah, board meeting rap pop songs basically being written. What do you expect? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Ed Sheeran isn't necessarily 100%, but there are a number of other stars that are listed in here, along with like Bruno Mars and
that is
Madonna and Miley Cyrus getting swept up in similar cases. Not that I know what all these cases are lining up with, but
that is one of the reasons why HBO was one of the companies that everybody like really coveted to work with if you were going to do your special, like stand-up comics, before Netflix really took that over.
Larry David's Arrested
Curb
Development.
Your Enthusiasm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry. What
I got to figure out what the fuck is doing that. So HBO was a company that was basically like, we'll buy the rights, we'll pay you, and we will have absolutely nothing to do with the directorial process. Like, you set this up yourself. And before Netflix came along, like, that's why like all the major stand-up specials.
I mean,
were
that's
on
how you
HBO.
got some really great shows. I remember when I was a wee lad. Has anyone heard of an ancient television series called The Sopranos?
I never really got into it, but that's one of those things. It's like you either thought it was okay or you loved it. Nobody hated it.
Oh, come on. It was just like, it was the same as Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones back then, where it was just like...
Back then, yes.
Yeah, either you're watching it or you're a goddamn nobody. Although I'm a goddamn nobody, I didn't watch Breaking Bad.
I feel like Breaking Bad was way better than The Sopranos.
Oh, I'm
honestly,
sure it was.
I just never that whole like New York personality thing. Like, I swear to God, every fucking New Yorker out there wants to be a thug. They really do. It's just part of the fucking the mindset of it. It is vastly different. You move from the East Coast and you start to kind of like cross over to like the Midwest and then the South. Those are like the three fucking like different personality types you have. You have like the East Coast crook, the wholesome Midwest.
I'm so glad that you view ourselves as wholesome.
I do usually, but encapsulated in a bubble sometimes. Yes.
Oh yeah, we're the bubble people. Definitely, we are
the bubble boys.
Yeah, we are the bubble boys for sure.
Yeah, it is literally like fucking. We crank out fucking Jake Gyllenhaals in bubbles, and we send them to cities all around the fucking country.
And then, it's like
I'm in the big city.
It's Amish rung Springer for every single one of them, and there are some that never leave the bubble, and they are just strangely demented individuals who are just oblivious to...
Not all of them, though. You can't...
I'm not saying all of them. I said some of them are just strangely oblivious to the goings-on in the world around them. And it's damning.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's like that classic image of like how America sees itself with Uncle Sam fucking throwing the haymaker in front of the American flag, and how the rest of the world sees it. And it's that fucking news article where it's like a fat man with no neck tries to trade a baby for 15 Big Macs. If you've seen that meme, let us know in the comments below.
Merry Christmas, people.
Yes, Merry Christmas, America.
I know that some people are working hard out there. I know some people are not working hard out there. I was not working hard out there today. I got to work and I went in super late. That's why I texted you. I was like, I'm going to be late as today. I was like, there's no way. I thought I was going to get here at.
Why did you censor yourself? We can say fuck on this.
I thought I was going to be late as fuck today. I got to work like 3 hours late. I was like, I have so much goddamn time to make up. And I get to work, and
Nobody's there.
I start working. Well, I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of people there, but I still thought I'd have to make up the hours. Weren't a lot of people there. I go to take a dump. I get off my phone, start walking upstairs after I wash my hands.
Model worker.
Yeah, I washed my hands. I had started working, but I had drank some coffee, so it gets the body going. But I'm coming upstairs, and HR is just like, "Oh, hey, make sure you're out of the building by 12:30.
We're locking up because
It's Christmas." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got here like an hour ago." Well, it was like 2 hours before that. I was just like, "Damn, I got lucky."
Are the HR guys at your place just walking around like they're on another plane of existence? Not in like a high and mighty way, but it's like, do you even relate to people with pulses?
See, as a floor person, I'm looking right into the camera right now. As a floor person, there is a disconnect just between floor people and Crystal Castle office people.
Oh. Maybe more at a place like that. I feel like there is still like a place that I work at. But
I feel like it's almost just because of, it's more so just because of how the building's laid out. It's actually a trek for office people.
Milwaukee's known for segregation, so.
Yeah, it's definitely separated. But it's a trek for an office person to come out to the floor. And like the few that do make that trek have a way better understanding of what's going on. But the ones that don't do it, it's just like, motherfucker, you in fantasy land, bro. Like you are just oblivious to what's going on. It was I actually was sent a message by the ghost of Sean Sullivan some time back, because Bob's Burgers had an episode that referred to
R.I.P. by the way.
Yeah, it related to the workforce from like a dumbed down kids explanation, where they were making basically pieces of wood with googly eyes on it, with little basically planks from Ed, and Eddie. They were making plank from Ed, and Eddie, and they were selling them as part of this school entrepreneurial
Like
program.
A chia pet.
Yeah, the school entrepreneurial
Pet
program.
rock.
And there was the workforce, which was like some of the younger kids, and then the management team, which was some of the older kids. And the management team was just hoarding all of the funds to themselves and giving themselves Doritos and Mountain Dew parties, while the workforce got nothing. That really struck home as just, yeah, that is kind of how it is sometimes. They're having meetings constantly, catering, and we're over here doing all the hard labor. And then restrictions come in. The planks started coming out a little worse over time, until people just weren't buying them anymore. Check it out. Like, honestly, it was really funny. It was a good episode.
Thankfully, I feel like where I work is nothing like that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's-
you work in a donut, right?
it is
Everything's just a
fucking
beautiful circle.
It is a fucking rare place, and these places are dying out. It really is. They really are. But you work in like this, dude. You work in a place that is big enough for Bob and Brian to come and do a show. Stefan texted me this week. He's like, dude, Bob and Brian are going to be broadcasting
Our
from here.
radio show heroes. No, I'm just kidding. They're they're a Milwaukee staple.
They're not my heroes, but I do love them.
Yeah, I got a healthy respect for them. They've been on the radio since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And I remember me and my dad used to listen to them all the time. He doesn't listen to them anymore, and I don't really either. But definitely
I have
like
to
Milwaukee
because
staples. Just people do it.
The person I work in the office that I share,
I'm in the
she
same
plays
boat.
it.
I'm in the same boat. And I thought I was going to be one of those guys when I started working there. I was listening to it, but there are definitely tons of people there that still listen to them. But as I've said to you off the air, it just, maybe it was just because I was a kid, but it's just, when they get political, it's just like,
I feel like
Stop.
when not only because we were kids, but it was also because they were much younger too.
yeah,
They were probably a little bit more keyed in.
to the no-ones-ons, the goings-ons.
I feel like you have like an average. They probably cater more to like this area's like political base. Than we really feel like they do. They probably like. There's probably more people in the area going, yeah.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
I work with them, and they're just like, yeah. But it'll be cool to see them. But I know, just due to the nature of where I work, they're gonna be in a room off in a corner
That was
somewhere.
the fucking first thing I
Yeah.
fucking said. It was like they're fucking Soviet spies confirmed. They've come to steal your fucking secrets.
Yeah, but they're just gonna stick them in a room in a corner somewhere, and I probably won't even see them.
And honestly, the last like show I listened to them where they were actually on site someplace, they were like, on the shop floor.
Yeah, no,
like, you could hear shit
I'd
going
heard
on.
that. I've heard that a couple times. I think one time they were at Milwaukee Tool, and another time they were at someplace that makes lawnmowers or something. And it was just loud as hell, like all the background audio. It'll be cool though if they're there. I hope Rock's there, because like Rock's the one I'd be like, hey, like, what do you do for your on-site sound stuff? Like, I'm sure they have a team, but like Rock is their sound guy, right?
He's
their audio engineer.
I wouldn't say audio engineer. He's a producer. He's a PA. He also does like a bunch of fucking like sporting events.
Yeah,
Like he basically my
he does
knowledge.
the Bucks games, right?
Yeah. They had this old bit on this CD that they yearly they put out a CD for the Mac Fund. And one of my first CDs from them was this CD called Stench Ranch. And that's where they had the fucking the Kiss Cam thing, where they had like it was at a Washington Wizards game, and somebody came out to propose, and the bride-to-be said no in front of everybody.
Nah.
And so they just get Rock out there because they're like, hey, Rock, you do the basketball games. Why don't you get out of there? He's like, ladies and gentlemen, we have a surprise. Like, doesn't even miss a fucking heartbeat on that shit. He just knew exactly what to do. He's like, well, we do this fucking corny shit at
Yeah.
my place, other place of employment.
Yeah, I like Rock and I love Fireman Jim, so I know Fireman Jim.
Man,
must
I
be
miss
there.
Zabin, but I like the new guy that they have.
Who did they end up settling on? I think I
I don't
heard
think
him
they've
the other
actually
night.
settled on him, but I haven't heard anything official, but he's been on regularly.
Because I know I listened to him on one of my drives in for one of their trial periods, and I was like, this guy's a no-go.
I'm just gonna scream.
Yeah, it was like, you're not Zabin, you can just stop. But the new guy doesn't yell all the time, right?
I felt a little bit of Zabin in me when I was ranting and raving about the fucking Chicago
ketchup?
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that.
Not the.
Should I have done this?
ketchup.
Should I have done like a hand gesture, like a pump the brakes, buddy?
No.
That's just
You
ketchup.
you just let it go.
Okay.
No, it wasn't about ketchup. It was just about all the nasty shit that they put on their fucking thing.
It's
and then
not
say,
nasty
You can't
though.
do it.
Sweet relish and the hot peppers they're good. They go well together.
I'm not saying the shit's nasty. I'm just saying, okay, you
the
go
hypocrisy of putting all
you
that
go
shit
to
on
a
it.
Chicago place, and it's not like some culinary experience. Half the time, it's just I'm just gonna fucking blue blap blue blap. I'm just gonna fucking pile this shit on there and have like no ratios of like what actually makes it taste good. It's just gonna be a pile. That's what I was after.
I took it more as the hypocrisy of you're gonna put all this shit on it and then just adding one more thing tips it over the edge. Really, yeah.
It was that too. That was the cherry.
So here's my plan. Bob and Brian are gonna be there. I think.
Hey, could you sign this for me?
No, I am gonna get a picture with them. I've been listening to them for ages and like their Milwaukee stables. I'm gonna try and get a picture with them. That'd be cool.
Could you take a picture of me that you could hold up next to you while you get a picture?
Yeah, if you give me one. It's on they come the 10th. Yeah, if you give me one, for sure.
Okay.
I'll just be like, can we get this in here too? And then I'll ask them to sign it.
podcast,
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do any of that because that's
shit.
That's lame.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a picture of you though, and I'll get them to sign it so you can
Just be
frame
like,
it.
hey, you guys retiring anytime soon? Which they're rumored to be. So, hey,
I believe it. Like I said,
stop seasoning those guys on the 3 o'clock show and just bring in some new boys, man. I'll stop swearing. I promise.
I like the guys that do the afternoon.
Yeah, they're all right. I think one of them left recently.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
But I like those guys. They're a little more goony. I like that.
Man, anybody who's
the
listening
real-
right now who is not in Milwaukee has no fucking clue or care what we're talking about.
But the last point I want to make on this is that they used to have a two-man team before the guys they have now, and they got fired because they said they got too out of control on air. They were having too much of a good time.
Did they fucking tell everybody that the mayor of Milwaukee fucking died on April Fool's? That's what got Opie and Anthony off there. You heard that story?
No.
Okay. This is fucking epically funny. They get this fucking idea that, all right, we're going to joke that the mayor of Boston has died. And we're just going to, the story is going to get more and more absurd as the day goes on. But they only got to get a few rounds of information off. And then the higher ups were like, you have to stop. We don't even want you to fucking mention this. And they were just like, oh no. Like, because we were going to just ramp this up, tell people like, we're like, there's no way this can't be a joke. It's April Fool's. This is fucking just getting more and more absurd. So they're just basically like, you can't say anything else about it. So it's almost like a World of Worlds situation for like H.G. Wells. A bunch of people thought
it was
the
happening.
mayor was dead.
Yeah.
And that got them fired off of
How did he die?
terrestrial area radio, as they say.
Oh, wow.
But they basically fired them, but they had to pay their fucking like severance, or there was they had to finish their contract.
They had a payout contract, yeah.
And they got paid millions for years to do nothing.
I understand that. That's something that just happened. That just happened in my sports world with two of my teams. They fired the coaches for two of the teams I like, but they still have one of them still
It's not
has
the Packers, right?
No.
'Kay.
Coach Quenville got fired from the Blackhawks. He's still making $6 million for the rest of this year, easy. I think he has 2 years left on his contract. Like, he's just getting paid to do nothing. Like, that's crazy. And people are like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna get rehired." Like a lot of amateur fans are just like, "He'll get rehired somewhere." But if you listen anywhere else, it's like, why would he want to get rehired? He's getting paid to do nothing, and anybody would pick him up. Like, he can just sit on his ass and get paid $6 million. You got this on cam?
No, he's just out of all of the cams. The cat is on the middle of the table.
Literally humping the laptop.
Yep. Just can't see him. Oh, well, fuck it. Merry Christmas, kitty.
I got something for you. It just doesn't feel like Christmas, though, without the snow. I did Candy Cane Lane this week, which, if you're in Milwaukee and it's Christmas, there are 3 blocks of Milwaukee that are dedicated to having ridiculous Christmas lights.
Yeah.
No snow. No magic.
Could I move in there and not do it?
There were some houses in there that didn't do it, and it was like... And then there were houses that did stuff that made no sense. Like, one of them had... Okay. So there were a couple houses that didn't have anything. And a couple
go in there and
raunchy jokes
decorate
went
for the
out about
wrong
it.
holiday.
A couple raunchy, inappropriate jokes went out about it. And then one of the houses that I will remember had a entire display themed around the TV show The Golden Girls, and it was like keeping Christmas golden, and it had just like a bunch of like I couldn't figure out what it was, because when we walked up it was just like a bunch of word bubbles with like weird phrases. It was like, "Oh, Christine, you shouldn't drink that," and it was like, what the fuck is going on with this house?
Stefan, can we go there and I'll take a piss on you?
Right in front of the sign. And then, like, as we got closer, there was a huge sign and it just said "Keeping Christmas Golden." It had like a caricature of the cast, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's the obvious houses with the Jesus nativity scenes, the penguins, the claymation standard Christmas movie, which escapes me, Finding Rudolph or whatever, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You know what movie I'm talking about.
Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
Those.
And then there's Golden Girls one. Like, what does Golden Girls have to do with Christmas?
I don't know. They just like their fandom, I guess.
And
I
that
guess
was
it's
the
just
thing.
going to become the fandom season. Decorate your house with whatever fandom you're
There
into.
were no Christmas lights. It was just these word bubbles and spotlights. It was just like, what the fuck?
Did somebody else explain to you that these word bubbles were quotes from the Golden Girls?
No, it's something I pieced together, and everyone else was like, oh.
You cracked the case. You cracked the case of the Golden Girl. Maybe that person in the house is just like, hey, come over, piss on me. It'll be the most Merry Christmas for me ever.
Yeah, you open the front door, there's just a huge tarp laid out. Just like, this is where we'll do it.
We're ready for wet work here.
Yeah. Oh, man. What was that in?
Horrible Bosses?
Yeah, that was hilarious. What are you going to do? Yeah,
That's why I fucking mentioned
the
that
German
one.
Australian guy, or Australian
He
guy
was
that comes in.
English.
He was English?
I thought he was just
I thought he
English.
had like a Austrian German.
Speaking of wet work, I really got to pee. Oh, man.
Come on, man. We got 10 minutes.
I know. I've been holding it all episode. I broke the seal before you even showed up. It was like 30 minutes before. I had already taken like 2 pees, and I'm like, this is not going to be good later. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I have to pee. Merry Christmas. You're
Dead
very
air for-
golden. You're
dead
very
air for-
golden. I'm not going to go right now. I'm going
Dead
to
air
fucking
for
gut it
2.5
out.
minutes. So what has all happened to you through this week? That was pretty much all my stories. I had the deer.
Nothing, man. Don't put me on the
hockey
spot.
game.
I got nothing to fucking toss in for like personal experiences. I've just been like sitting at home, getting fucking fat, working. I've been working on like doing fucking technical drawings at work. Nobody wants to hear about that shit.
all been
Your
work stuff,
boy
yeah.
needs to fucking get out there and get in a fight with a hobo or some shit. Just so I have some
story for you.
Yeah.
I was out drinking on Brady Street, and this hobo comes up. He's like, "I need $20," and I was like, "No!" And I just punched him in the face.
Oh, man. If
Yeah, you need something.
Just keep going on with that. It's like, oh, last week on the show, I actually pissed my pants.
I really wish though that there was some snow here and some ice. Like, I had some
hazardous
intentions.
shit. There was ice.
Not really though.
That
I had some
melted.
intentions to go like outdoor ice skating. Like, nothing's frozen over. Thinking of
Ruin your skates. I want to.
I got the
I want to
throwaways.
stimulate the fucking economy and like ruin my sharpening job in one fell swoop.
I have the throwaway skates, but man, I tell you, I didn't have sharp skates for that game last Saturday. It was like trying to move through a sand dune.
Mush.
Yeah, difficult.
Stefan on moosh.
Yeah, and then I just, you get extra winded. It was rough. I had a game on the first. If you want to come out, it's from 9 to 12. It's a tournament.
Wait, like the New Year's Day the 1st? I
Yep.
don't know about that one, bud.
I'm gonna have beer on the bench. It's gonna be great.
Scoop me.
Maybe.
Do the scoops so I can poops in the litter box.
So you want to share with me the details of the last story that we have that you sent me about this guy hurting himself in an air mattress explosion.
Okay.
I don't understand how this could happen.
The funny part about it was it created an explosive environment because he was trying to inflate his air mattress with Fix-A-Flat. I don't know if he actually like had a flat and they just like if his air mattress had a hole in it and he just selectively like let that out of the story. But even so, if you are putting Fix-A-Flat into a tire, you have to drive so it spreads around and gets like pulled through the fucking outside of it.
Yeah.
He basically was spraying Fix-A-Flat into his air mattress and just letting the fumes probably go out of the hole. And then a candle, it's Christmas, Merry Christmas, ignited the fumes.
Happy holidays. Wow. And it looks like this was a trailer. And
It's always the fucking trailers with the fucking the fires, man. We had a guy who tried to
Patrick O'Neill from Cannibal Corpse had a large
I wasn't
ranch
talking about him.
home.
I wasn't talking about him.
I have two things to talk about actually on this case.
Just let me say, the fucking previous stories we had on here was the dude who was trying to fucking get the spider orgy out of his house.
Yes,
Also lit his trailer on there. And then there was a guy who drank way too much vodka and wanted to make cookies and burnt his fucking parents' trailer down, I think
Yep.
it was.
Something like that. All right. So, the Cannibal Corpse guitarist story. We did that episode. And not even the next day, I saw a guitarist that I follow on Instagram post my friend, Patrick, whatever, the guitarist of Cannibal Corpse, la-di-da, has an upcoming court date. Please support him through this GoFundMe.
I guess I could understand why. He probably has a bunch of shit. He's probably going to jail, if not prison for a bit. And he probably has a bunch of shit that he will not be able to settle. Just like personal stuff as far as like finances that he will not be able to wrap up by that time. And once you are in jail, you cannot personally take care of those things. Like
They sit on the back burner.
Yeah, like if you have a bank account that has shit just automatically drawing from it, that through bills you're responsible for paying for, it will continue to draw from it, and it is very hard to get that shut down.
Yeah, you need an outside person for that, huh?
No, in a lot of cases. Like, you have to do it yourself. And the state just makes it impossible for you to do. Not that I'm saying, like, this guy didn't do some fucked up shit and deserves some punishment. It's just, there's...
Just the premise of the GoFundMe is... The premise of GoFundMe is just so damaged. Like, whether he needs it or not, it's just so damaged. Like, you've seen the GoFundMe this week where this Florida man opened it up where he's just like, oh yeah, you can fund Trump's wall right here. And he's gotten $4 million, which, by the way, I saw an article about somebody who did the math. By the year, at this current rate,
it was like it was like a ridiculous percentage away from being 1% of the total that they needed.
At this current rate, you might get there by 34 or something. Like, I don't think people comprehend the
concept of a billion.
Yeah, it was just like, but yeah, just keep dumping it to him, and more than likely, this dude is gone. Like, he's just taken. I saw a couple posters. If this dude is scamming, he just took like the first bunch from like the first day and a half and just booked it out of the States.
So there's also, I don't think you get funded until you actually meet a goal. Like, you have to meet your goal in order to get funded, depending on like certain stipulations.
Okay.
So you can't just do that. But there was another guy who started up because of the publicity that this one got, he set up an account, $200 million to build escalators over the wall if that gets funded. And he clearly states it's like this is just a hyperbolic response to this. I don't actually expect to be building escalators over the wall. We will be giving this to charities for people who actually need it.
It's all pretty crazy. And then I read a couple possibly fake comments about running your own GoFundMes. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was,
should we set up a GoFundMe? Let us know in the comments below.
to take Bob and Brian's spot on Milwaukee
Right.
radio, because that'd be a sweet gig.
We'll get our own radio show with blackjack and hookers.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up was, farting around at work, I saw a BBC interview with James Eames, I believe his name is, or Jered Threatin. You remember the band Threatin?
Yes.
And it had a bit of a interesting narrative. I don't know if you remember much about the Threatin case.
Yes.
So we briefly talked about the Threatin case here, and I hadn't really gotten well versed in it other than I had seen a couple headlines, but I read this BBC article and it was pretty interesting. Do you remember my take on the Threatin article at all?
No.
Okay. So the original case that was laid out was Jered Threatin, who formed a band called Threatin, went on a tour across Europe, and his band was supposed to have an incredibly large draw. They were signed to a record label. They had a number of Facebook followers, a number of music videos of him playing to sold-out crowds. He had a pretty large following, substantially, on the internet if you did like a few Google searches. But a story broke during that time frame where it came out that on this cross Europe tour, this was all revealed to be a ruse or a facade where they weren't actually signed to a record label. The record label company was something that he had fabricated. A number, all of the likes were actually bought. The people did not come to the concerts. The concerts were sold out. Supposedly supposed to be sold out, but they were empty.
Oh,
But
way to fill it there. Dude.
interestingly enough, this news
I just filled
story,
something myself.
this news story from the BBC broke, and it had an interview with Jered, a number of the previous bandmates, and it had some in-depth sleuthing. So this band's tour, he recruited all fresh musicians. They practiced
Yeah.
for a number of months leading up to it.
This sounds like the one guy who's still in the harp machine trying to make it work, or who's the dude that's the only guy left in the Faceless? That's
Michael Keane.
yeah, Michael Keane, still trying to make the Faceless work, but they actually had a following. This is like one of those
Yeah,
cases with
that-
nobody who follows them.
His is apparently more related to a
Drug problem.
a drug issue. We'll get into the Michael.
Yeah, back into
we can
Threatin.
get into the Michael Keane stuff some other time. But the Threatin story, the BBC was like, do you want to do an interview? And at this point, Jered Eames, or Jered Threatin as he goes by, had declined all of these.
He's holding out for Ellen.
So the BBC interviewer got a scoop from one of the guitarists that he had picked up, and the guitarist gave an in-depth look into what the tour was like. So they practiced for 3 months, and they were like, oh yeah, this Threatin thing looks like it's a pretty good deal. We looked them up on the internet, blah, 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 blah. And then we practiced, and then we took off, and he said we'd get not a very large sum of money. It was like some $300 or something, and then that eventually changed to where it's like, oh, that's actually our budget for like the tour. And they got out there, and they thought the first couple nights it was just like, oh, this is just like a bad promoter. But this all kind of snowballed until basically the entire band except one guitarist left. And they were just like, this is all a ruse. Like, I got emails from some friends, like these news stories started breaking after the first couple dates, that this is all fake. And reading through this interview and watching all this unfold, which was stuff that had already taken place through some of the news stories if you read them, but getting Jered's perspective because they finally had an interview with him. This dude tried to make it sound like he was the mastermind between all of this and the collapse. He was like, I was the one that sent emails to these news sources that actually ended up breaking the story, that this was all a big fake thing, because what I wanted was no one to show up, and then on like the last day of the tour, a bunch of people come out and just be like, fuck you, and then I wouldn't even play a note. Like, I'd just leave. But they interviewed a couple more people, like his own brother, who was in a they refer to as an extreme metal band. I think it's a black metal band that I'd never heard of, but he was like, yeah, my brother's a con man. Like, you can't believe anything you say. So you can't believe anything he says. But just reading this whole story, seeing it all unfold, and then the actual fact check at the end, which was he sent the emails that Jered Eames or Jered Threatin claimed he sent was like 10 days after the story had actually broken or something like that. But he had lists of fake accounts he had made to comment and like all his stuff, like the videos,
Fucking Shoe Nice style.
yeah, the videos he had mashed together with like sold out crowds and himself basically playing against a wall with some stage lighting.
Let me interject a little bit here. I do not feel sorry for these musicians or anybody involved with this who thought it was a real deal, because if you fucking look and just listen to the music, it's shit.
It's faked. Yeah.
Nobody would, in their right mind, fucking like this unless you just let that little part in you that's like, oh, I'm going to get to go on tour and be famous and do this thing.
I haven't actually checked it out yet. I just read this story.
Dude, it is so egregiously bad that it's like, there's no way this can be fucking
what was
real.
crazy to me was, through this whole story, was this dude has a long-term girlfriend who was part of this. I'd say she's part of this scam too. And it's just like, it seemed odd to me that, I mean, maybe they picture themselves as Bonnie and Clydes, but how could you really, I guess when you're caught up in part of a scheme, it's hard to realize that somebody might be also scamming you. You know what I mean? Like, that was my whole thing, was like, oh, this dude pulled this big con off. Like, how are you not concerned that he's conning you in some way?
I don't know if this was necessarily a con or if it's just somebody trying to cover after what happened. I kind of think
the statements he gave definitely gave me the impression that he's just trying to cover. But the statements he made were stuff like, well, having been in the music industry, I thought I could just do all this myself.
Having
like,
been
you
in the
don't
music industry.
you don't
Okay.
need an agent or this stuff. You can just
let me get my 2 cents in here. What I really think he did was he played one aspect of the game that you have to play when you do this just a little bit too hard. He didn't do any of the fundamentals. He didn't do any of the groundwork. Didn't do any of the musicianship, where it's like you have to have good music that people want to listen to. Then you have to get people to actually show up at your shows. And then you have to play this whole fucking long con game where you have to fake it till you make it with networking. He just fucking networked way too fucking hard and got ahead of himself and faked the other stuff. And without the other stuff that is a huge fundamental of creating something that you can actually sell to somebody. He doesn't have his which we're in the process of doing, finding our first 1,000 people who genuinely want to listen to all of our stuff. You have to find those people, otherwise you have nothing. You absolutely have nothing.
My take on it was, I don't know if I actually verbalized this analogy last time, but it was a lie that spun out of control. Like when an investment banker's like, oh yeah, if you give me some money, I can get this big return. And maybe he thinks he can do it at first, but it eventually snowballs into an issue. I know you've heard
It's like
stories like this sometimes.
This is the whole mentality that Facebook was built around. They very much so built around, just go fast, hard, and loose with what you can do, and then worry about, the what comes afterwards as an after fact, which I kind of think is a good way to go about things. Where you're just trying to not necessarily in hindsight now that we've seen what a juggernaut Facebook has become because they've operated so loosely for so long and not. I mean,
it's coming
regulated.
down now.
Yeah,
the
hammer is coming down.
It's
now.
coming out that the fact that some of us knew for a long time and turned a blind eye to, but the fact that they're literally making all their money by just selling everything they said.
But not to get too far off topic, it doesn't matter. They've already accomplished their goals as far as making their mark, getting something out there, and making their fortunes, basically. I mean, what is this fucking slap on the wrist that's coming from the government?
Oh, it'll be nothing.
They're not going to throw him in jail or anything like that.
Any high-value crime of somebody with that, in the Facebook case, it's like any high white-collar crime. Mm-hmm. Just like, at that point, it was worth it. And you're getting the lightest slap on the wrist, and you can turn around and you already made out like a bandit. Like, that's something that's extremely frustrating.
So to
the Jered Threatin case.
Yeah, I want to get back to that.
To the Jered Threatin case, it's hard for me to understand how. I feel like it was a con, though, because in part of the story, he's like, yeah, here's all the burner phones I used. You don't think you would have had a realization when you had to buy. He had like 10 to 12 burner phones that he had a picture with, and they said there should be more, which I don't necessarily believe that comment. But once you get to the point where you're buying like 3 burner phones to keep a lie spinning for promotional movement, I feel like you'd have some sort of wake-up call of, maybe I'm getting in a little too deep. I guess at that point, maybe you feel you're too deep and you can't get out. But
I think the hope was that after having the successful tool, you'd have a payoff. That's the
investment banker thing, where it's like, we'll get it through.
You fake it through it, and then you get all the stuff that comes along with it. Yeah. But the perception of it,
that's the investment banker.
The perception of that is essentially wrong, because when you go to a place that you have never been before.
It's the polka thing. It's the polka king thing, where you get in too deep and you can't get out. Mm-hmm. It's the polka king. He got polka king.
Yeah, he is the modern day.
Yeah.
He's, but we're not going to call him the metal king. But
no, not at all.
Oh man!
But let's check the interview.
Let's get Jack Black to fucking star in a movie that let's sell the screenplay
called
Jered Threatin.
Except we gotta
get Jack Black to star.
We gotta flip the name, so it'd be
get Nick Gwen. Nick Gwen to fucking shave his beard and fucking play Threatin guy.
It would be I'm a Jetin. That would be the name of our movie. I'm a Jetin.
All right, I think it's time to
check out the article though on BBC.
I think it's also time to check out. Yeah, check it.
Come.
You want to go another half hour?
No, you guys can all get lost. It's Christmas.
Last Christmas, you gave me your heart. The very next day, you gave it away. Night, everybody.